guys, it's Lord Both here with another video, and it's finally happened. Palworld is getting sued by Nintendo. This comes to us from The Verge, and it's entitled Nintendo and Pokemon are suing Palworld maker Pocketpair. Nintendo and the Pokémon Company have filed a patent infringement lawsuit against Pocketpair, which makes the game Palworld. Nintendo Company Limited, together with Pokémon Company, filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocketpair. It's important to note that both Nintendo and Pocketpair are based there in Tokyo, so this thing will for sure be tried via Japanese law. This lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights. But what exactly does this all mean specifically for the lawsuit? Well, first you ought to note that Nintendo is suing for patent infringement, not copyright infringement. Copyright infringement is infringement that's based around ideas, characters, specific things, if you will, while patent infringement is based around processes. Imagine it this way, if you will. DC and Warner Brothers own the rights to Batman and all the Batman characters. So if you were to say, make a comic book using Batman and all the Batman characters, and maybe even story elements from Batman stories, you are in violation of copyright. However, if for instance you were to create a video game and the character in your video game was, Nightman, who was similar to Batman in some way, right? But not necessarily a one-for-one copy. But in that video game, you have missions where you have to race through the city, and when you collect power-ups as you race through the city in your Nightman mobile or whatever, your car gets faster and faster, helping you win the race. Well, if Warner Brothers and DC have put out a Batman video game in which they have the same elements and they have a patent for those elements of missions where you race around the city in the Batmobile collecting power-ups to make your car go faster and faster and help you win, well then you could be sued for patent infringement as you're copying an element of their game when it comes to the actual process of doing something. And Nintendo has a long laundry list of certain patents that they have on their processes. Nintendo has a patent on the idea that good feeding and sleeping patterns for virtual life forms in their video games help those life forms breed and create new virtual life forms. So if you make a video game where you do the exact same thing, then you can be sued for patent infringement by Nintendo. And essentially that's what they've done here to Palworld. They're suing them for the practices rather than the characters and ideas. And why might they do that? Well, one could maybe guess that the characters can be changed, I wouldn't say fairly easily, but definitely easier than changing the actual processes of a game. The processes, and I'm sure specifically the processes Palworld are being sued for in this patent lawsuit, I can assume are highly integral to the functionality of the game. And because Nintendo wants to file for injunction on those practices, that's probably why they're going for the practices. Injunction, by the way, means that they're ordering you to stop immediately. So if they can legally get them to stop these practices in their game, that would essentially kill Palworld as a game. It wouldn't be able to function. Maybe this is also why it took them so long to get this lawsuit together and file it, because they were collecting and crossing their T's and dotting their I's on every single practice that they believe Palworld was violating, so they could just barrage them with a ton of practices that they thought Palworld was in violation of. And by doing so, especially if they win their lawsuit, they could effectively kill Palworld. And with how stringent Japanese law tends to take these copyright and patent right cases, I'd say they'd have a pretty good chance of doing so. Especially a company that's so large and so integral to Japan as Nintendo. This case is either going to force one of two things. It's either going to force Palworld to close up shop, or it's going to force the Japanese government to take a long beholden look at the very broad and vague legal context of their copyright and patent right law. But those are just my thoughts on the subject. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you listening to all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.